Well, here she is back from the dead. Well, I'm not dead, but I wasn't dead. Yeah, Autumn, Act 3, the entire all the three acts are out, if I can speak. I want to begin by saying, because I am going to go through track by track for this one, because I've been doing that for pretty much for every act. I just want to say that I'm sorry if any. The little disclaimer is that I'm sorry if any anger comes out or frustration. I think I'm going through like stages of grief in a way. Because so that's going to tell you a little bit about what my review is going to be like. It's not all bad. Like, let me just say that, like, I'm not going to be like tearing people through the mud. I'm just going to be giving you my thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. Sorry if my thoughts overlap with something I said in like the Act 1, Act 2 review. It's just like I'm wrapping things up and I'm getting all my thoughts put together, and it's going to be an in conclusion, yada, yada, yada. So this is just my unedited, oh my God, what is wrong with my hair? Who knows? Whatever. Anyway, my unedited views of this album. Let me first begin by saying I do not believe that Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness was a concept record. Do I think it had a lot of a lot of prevalent themes and a lot of like strong themes and messaging? Yeah, I do. It's also a phenomenal album, and I loved that it had all these different styles and different genres within one album. And it didn't just have songs like Bullet with Butterfly Wings, it had songs like Cupid de Lock and Farewell and Good Night and all of that. So I think the fact that it's claimed that this is a end of a trilogy, like it's finishing a trilogy, is the only way that I can make sense of it is that you have Zero, which was born in Melancholy, who turns into Glass in Machina, and then you have Shiny in Autumn, acts 1 through 3, right? And to me, Zero, who began as this whole thing as Zero, is just a character or a what do they call it? A figure or a symbol that represents Billy Corgan. And I like that. It's like a fictitious figure, like a character that represents Billy Corgan and his musical journey. In that way, it's a trilogy, but it's not really. Does that make any sense? Machina was the only one that was legitimately a concept record. It just wasn't finished in the way that it was supposed to, because the record label was like, yeah, no, essentially. And Machina 1 and Machina 2 were like this big old story, and there's supposed to be a lot more to it, and like the track listings were different, and there was like more songs, I think, and there was like a whole thing about like whole story about Glass and the Ghost Children, which is a band. So that's legitimately was like a concept record, and you can kind of still get tastes of it on the product that we ended up getting as the consumer. So I will begin with that. I don't think that it's truly a trilogy. The only way it's a trilogy is that you have Zero, Glass to Shiny, in my opinion. And before I get into it, I'm going at this. This is all just my opinion, obviously. I'm reviewing this based off of, do I like what I hear? And that's completely okay. I am not here for people saying like, oh, like, this is so lazy. Oh, all you people talk about is, do I like what I hear? Oh, I don't like this. I don't like what I hear here. It's like, well, this is music that we're reviewing, because they want you to really go into the concept and the story. And I think a lot of people are not going into the concept and the story of the record because it's not in the record itself, really. And I understand that people are like, well, there's a companion piece, and it's the podcast. But the thing about the way that I'm coming at this is, I think in principle, the fact that I don't know what's happening based off of the lyrics and the music by itself. I don't have a general sense of what's happening in this world with these characters. That kind of is a bit of a letdown, because when I think of albums like The Black Parade, and The Black Parade is not a perfect concept record because you have a song like Teenagers that doesn't really fit, and you're like, wait a minute, this is an entire concept record. But Teenagers is just kind of thrown in there, but you can kind of make sense in your brain of like, oh, it's in there because XYZ 1, 2, 3. But I can follow that story, and I can follow like, oh, this guy's dying, oh, he's dead, or he's going to the afterlife, oh, the afterlife is coming for him in a form of a childhood memory. That's very creative, that's really cool. And it was so rich in imagery, and you could tell like, oh, like these songs are talking about like hell, or like we're in the afterlife now, and then this is him, the patient, remembering when he was alive, and like you can understand what's happening. But with this, it's like you don't understand unless you listen to a podcast and he's like, oh, so we have these characters, Shiny and June and Posey or whatever, and this is what's happening. Which I have heard that the only way you can remotely enjoy this record is if, as someone commented on my last review, like, oh, it's the only way to enjoy it at all. But my whole thing is I don't care for like the music itself. I feel like if I even had context, I just don't know I will look at the context. I will look it up eventually, so that way I can like maybe make sense of things. But as of right now, what I'm hearing, I just don't really like for the most part. And it's very sad because it's like you have 33 songs, and I feel like at the end of the day, there's only like maybe like 12, 13, something like that. Good songs. Sorry if you can hear my fridge. It makes noises and it makes ice. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of like my beginning. This is all just my opinion. And it's kind of sad that like you have to like seek out other companion pieces in order to understand the story at all. It's kind of just weird to me. It's like usually it's like if I already understand what's happening, but I kind of have a question about like a character in this concept record or a song, or like if I'm confused about a detail, or if I want to find these like Easter eggs, then I like will Google it, or I consult the internet, and then it's like I get more context and like more nuggets, which is cool. But I have like no way of knowing what's going on just by the lyrics, and I kind of think that's weird. Anyways, that's my opinion. Just to start off with. Okay, so just to discuss Act 3, a glaring positive is that Jimmy Chamberlin is allowed to be, you can hear Jimmy Chamberlin being his classically jazz trained rock drumming self. Like, you can hear him. So should we start going like track by track? Okay, the first one is Sojourner, which is 7 minutes, like a 7-minute song. And the only good thing about this song is that Jimmy Chamberlin is drumming his heart out. It's just way too long of a song. I feel like it's pretty boring for the most part. So the only highlight to that is the drumming. You have That Which Animates the Soul. It's, a rocker track. Oh, my God. Sorry, I was interrupted, and it kind of pissed me off. But anyway, we're talking about songs. That Which Animates the Soul. It's like a rocker track. We have actual guitars, and it's okay. It's catchy. He name drops Zero in so many songs in this act in particular. Let me just do this so I can actually see my thing. Okay, and he name drops Zero all the time. Like, he's like, he keeps saying 0, 0, and then in another song he says 0 save 0. Okay, cool. It was okay. Like it's a catchy one. I have to say, like, I have had, since this act has come out, so it came out 5 days ago. Some of the songs have actually grown on me since then. So we're going in order. The third track, holy shit, is The Canary Trainer. And this is one of the songs that's like starting to kind of grow on me a bit. It's, what did I write? I wrote down that I thought it was pretty, and I don't hate it. It's a compliment. It is kind of, it's one of those songs that's growing on me. Slowly but surely, so maybe it'll be like a favorite of mine. It's a favorite of a lot of people's. It's just not my favorite from the bunch. Pacer is track number 4. I think this has a good drum beat and the backing vocals are nice. Initially, I wrote down that it's forgettable, and in a way, it kind of is. I like the line, "If given a heart." I do, however, think it needs a bit of a better hook, and it's good as a kind of like a background track, but it is one of the songs like that is growing on me a bit. 5, In Lieu of Failure. Now, another one with, guitar riffs. It's catchy. It's one of those ones that, like, in a way, I like a bit more than I did a couple of days ago. But the lyrics, I have to say, the lyrics kind of crack me up, because when I read it, the hook is him going like, alone, 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 alone. And I think that the hook is kind of, I don't know, it's okay. Like that's the problem. It's like a lot of these songs, it's like, it'll be like, it's okay, or I don't know, like you're kind of like, I don't hate it, but it's okay, and da da da. But the lyrics, it's kind of, I have to be honest, the lyrics are kind of like, let me bring up the lyrics. So this is without, I don't want to get copyrighted. So, In Lieu of Failure, these are the lyrics. I'd pass the salt if I could shake. Whoa. I'd blitz your waltz and have your blame. Oh, just know, my limps and lisps and lays for laughs. My chin and chance and churl are glass. All right, so send in the drones, which that's cool, like in the song when he sings, so send in the drones. And check yourself, all right? Just send in the drones, all right. I warned you, yeah, it's a kind bluff. You ain't so tough, so far from home. And then this is the chorus, the hook. Alone, 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 alone. And then he goes, I take you upon fates and frolic. Whoa. I'd lollygag and crack some colic. Which is Thar she blows, my dinks and dings and dangs say bold. My gags and, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, gaffs and grinds gird slow. All right. And then he's like, send in the it's like he was doing wordplay, and he's like, oh, I need to have words that all start with G or A. It feels to me like it's something I would write, like if I was in the middle of the night, just like, that was not meant to rhyme, I'm so sorry. If I was like in the middle of the night and it was like, and I just wanted to be creative, I just wanted to write something, anything, so I just decided to do wordplay, and I probably have like, I don't know, like 5 shots of whiskey in me, and I just have it in my notebook, and it's like not anything for sharing really. I'm sorry, but like, I think that the music is catchy, but I just don't like, in fact, it was kind of funny because when I first heard this song, I'll never forget, I heard the intro riff, and it kind of reminds me of In Too Deep by Sum 41, and I kind of wanted to sing like the intro lyrics to In Too Deep, and like, it's not an exact match, but it's enough to like remind you of In Too Deep. Anyway, I'm sorry, I know that people like that song, but like, I just thought that the lyrics were so funny, like, and how they were just I was kind of really, so Cenotaph, I initially, upon initial like first couple listens, I thought it was kind of boring and forgettable, but it's kind of growing on me a bit. It has the way I wrote down like the sort of chorus, because it's kind of not blatantly certain that it's a chorus in a way. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but it has grown on me a bit. Cenotaph has grown on me. It's track number 6, and yeah, I feel like a lot of these songs, like especially like 3 through 6, have grown on me quite a bit. They're like slowly but surely growing on me. But Cenotaph, yeah, is one of those. I used to think it was just a forgettable, boring song, and I think it's a little bit better than what I initially thought. Harmageddon, I remember that's a rocker. I remember some Apple Music wrote that it was like, oh, like full on thrash, and it's heavy, but I don't know if I would say it's like thrash. I mean, kind of. Yeah, I guess so. The solo's pretty cool. It sounds nice. It's a fun one. Fireflies. A lot of people like this song. I think it's chill and soothing, but it's okay. And the constant repetition of waiting on your fireflies, it just makes me think about like how fireflies are actually like, they're like endangered to like possibly just disappear forever if like they don't get a good like habitat or something. I don't know. I can't remember what I read, but they're like in danger of being gone, and then it makes me sad. And I don't want to be sad. God, what is track 9? Is Intergalactic. It is way too long of a song. The best part of this song is halfway through. You have to wait 4 minutes of practically nothing. I am so sorry, but like it is so like awkwardly, like it's not even like this the lyrics are being sung, they're just being like awkwardly recited almost. And that's the thing, a lot of these songs feel like they're like these long drawn out poems, and I know that Billy Corgan knows how to do like the to play with song structure and not do like the typical basic song structure of verse, chorus, verse, and like, you know, you throw a bridge in there and blah blah blah, because he's done it before, and has done it well before. Like Suit and Stars is just like a stream of conscious poem, but like why it works is because the hooks lie in the music. So like if you don't have a traditional hook, you create one via the music, or the way that he would sing. There would be like 2 different parts. He'd be singing all the lyrics. Every line was different. But the thing about it was he was singing parts in a similar melody, in a similar way, if that makes any sense. I encourage people to listen to it, especially the one where he has this version where he sings it, it's just him and a guitar when he was touring. I think it was it Cotillions or OG Lala? Either way, when he was touring and it was just him and a guitar, and oh my god, like that version, beautiful. And he knows how to do that. Like it inspired me to write my own kind of like stream of conscious, like this is just how I feel type song, and compose it in a certain way. So that's the thing about Intergalactic, especially though, it's like it doesn't really flow, and then finally you get drums that come in halfway through, and Jimmy Chamberlain's doing this amazing tom work. God bless Jimmy Chamberlain. This is like the best part of the song, and you have to listen to 4 minutes of pretty much nothing. I'm so sorry. Once again, I'm sorry if like any anger, or like I don't mean to be like, wow, this fucking sucks or whatever, but I just don't think that this was that good of a song. Spellbinding, probably one of the best of the entire album. It's catchy. It has melody. I like melody in songs, and you thinking, oh, I could picture this in a movie, and it was in a movie. It was in Murder Mystery 2, and I'm like, I wouldn't have pictured it in Murder Mystery 2, but hey, it took, I was like, oh, I pictured this in a movie. And then, oh yeah, it was in a movie. So, take me away. And it should have ended there, but then they ended it with Of Wings, which the first time I listened to that song, it reminded me of the piano from like the Charlie Brown Christmas. Like it was almost Charlie Brown Christmas. And a bunch of la la la's. It was kind of like a bit of lo-fi in there. I feel like this album, like, I stand by what I said. I feel like it was kind of overly ambitious, but at the same time, it was pulling back on the reins, and it was like just not allowing people to really, like musicians to really act upon their full potential. I feel like that's just weird. I hate the way that they ended this record. Like, you could have ended it on spellbinding, but you didn't. Instead, we got this weird like song that was almost Charlie Brown music. And here's the thing, no shade to Charlie Brown and Peanuts. I love their instrumental jazz. Like, that's soothing. It's very chill, and it fits that. But this has no place. It doesn't make sense in like a rock opera, which I don't know why this was called. No offense, don't know why this was called a rock opera. It wasn't really what you think of when you think of rock opera. You think of Queen. You think of maybe something like, I don't know, American Idiot. You think of something like, even like My Chemical Romance, like I was mentioning earlier. That's what you think of. What's sad is that, and I'm not the only one that feels this way, is that people are like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a playlist, so if I want to revisit this, I'll just revisit those songs that are my favorites. And let me just look through the track listing to see. So I think my favorites are still the same. I'll even throw in The Good and Goodbye. It has a memorable riff in it. The Good and Goodbye was good. I liked Steps in Times a lot. I still revisit Steps in Time. The Gold Mask, very fun. Empires is good, although I know that it's way better live. Moss had a pretty cool riff from what I remember. To the Grays I thought was very pretty. To the Grays was probably one of the best songs off of the second one. It probably, and then you had Beguiled, which was the first single, which even now I kind of think that it's a bit dwindled in quality. I don't think it's like the best song off of Autumn anymore, but it was good. I was too harsh on Springtimes the first time I reviewed it, because I think by the time I got to track 11 and reviewing Act 2, I was just so kind of like extra critical, and I felt like it was too long and it was too repetitive, but I actually remember liking it afterwards. We'll include, I don't even know what I want to, I'm still, like, these songs are on Act 3, or a lot of them are still growing on me a bit, so I don't know if I can even really include some of the songs that are still kind of growing on me. Harmageddon is great. And you got Spellbinding. I don't want to say the ones that are still growing on me, because I'm like, oh, I actually like that better than I did yesterday or the day before that, because Cenotaph is actually more interesting now. But yeah, that's like, you had a pretty decent album amongst 3 albums put together, so that's kind of weird. So that kind of would be my my loosely, my loose ATUM playlist. And then I look at albums like Sear. So I'm looking at the Sear playlist, and I revisit a lot of these songs. Especially the ones I revisit the most are, I would say, Dulcet and E, Sear, Wrath, Witch. I revisit Haunted and The Hidden Sun. I like Tiger Tiger, it's fun, and Minerva. Such a good closer. I like that album, by the way. I enjoyed Sear. I actually pre-ordered Sear digitally. I didn't do like any. I almost did a box set of the symbols, I think on like anyway. And I think, what's kind of sad is that it used to be, which side of my hair is it doing? Sorry, it's like mirrored, so it's weird. It used to be that when I would see a song that was like, done by the Smashing Pumpkins that was 7 minutes, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be a Pumpkins epic. And what I mean by a Pumpkins epic is like Through the Eyes of Ruby, XYU, Porcelain of the Vast Oceans, Silver Fuck, Geek USA, like these grand, long, like Hummer. I would even say Hummer's an epic. Like where you had like the push and the pull, the loud, the soft to the loud, like all of that. Like they just know how to do it. This was a 90, they pretty much started releasing their albums in the 90s. And in the 90s, rock scene, they knew how to do the soft to the loud. Think like Lithium with Nirvana. And now on this record, and I see a 7-minute or an 8-minute or a 9-minute song, and I'm kind of like, it's going to be a chore to get through, which is sad. I don't want to feel that way. I feel like a lot of their guitar riffy, like songs like Beguiled or Empires or Harmageddon or That Which Animates the Spirit, they have a similar riff. Like the riffs sound similar. The guitar riffs sound similar. Because what it is we're listening to this album and it's like most of us are automatically gravitating towards the guitar-driven songs, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is great, because we have been left without it so much on this record. It's like giving a starving bear a sliver of honeycomb instead of, giving that bear the whole entire honey-filled hive. You know what I mean? So... And I think that's the best way I can like visually or give like a metaphor or whatever. I don't mean this disrespectfully. I mean, at least there's songs on here that I don't think this was a complete waste of time. At least there's songs on here that I like and enjoy. So this is just my opinion. Maybe songs will grow on me. I mean, already like there were songs on Act 3 that were like, oh, like I like that better now the next day than I did like the first couple times I listened to it. So there's hope. I think that songs will grow on me, and I'll look into the context, and maybe that'll have me enjoying it more. I just kind of wish that it was stronger all throughout, instead of feeling like I'm listening to like random or awkward, like long drawn out poetry things. And I know that I will understand it if I understand the context and the story, but I still feel like the structure and the music elements are just not there, when I'm hearing these things, So, and then I've been hearing that there's going to be, the next record is claiming to be a rock album. Billy says, oh, it's going to be a full-on rocker. And I'm not getting my hopes up on anything. I will listen to anything they release, but I am not getting my hopes up because it was made in a way. I feel like there was marketing that was done to basically sell based off of nostalgia, and people were expecting more guitars on this record, and we didn't get that. And I don't mind if we don't get guitars, because obviously, like, I've listened to albums like Adore and Sear and Shine, like the first Shiny didn't all have nothing but guitars, right? I love all the different types of the Pumpkin sounds, but like I has to have more melody like as long as it has melody and it has good writing and good musicianship and it's creative, like I love it. But yeah, I don't this is the first project where I'm not like really enjoying, because Seer I enjoy very well. And yeah, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you need to make another Siamese Dream, or oh, you need to make another Melancholy. I wasn't expecting another Melancholy, or a Machina for that matter. But I don't really care like what instruments we're using or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I was just, at least we got some songs that we like. There's that. And I hope nobody's too like, pissed off that I'm saying some of the things that I'm saying, because just my opinion. And I love the Pumpkins. I always love the Pumpkins. They're like the only band where I own like ups, like more than like I own like a bunch of shirts for. I mean, I have like 2 Iron Maiden shirts. I'm wearing like, I don't know why I'm not wearing a Pumpkin shirt. It just didn't really plan accordingly. But I have, only 2 Iron Maiden shirts. I have like probably like 6, 7, who knows how many Pumpkin shirts. It's like, I love them. I think they're an amazing band, and they've been there for me, through good times, bad times, whatever. And they're very inspirational. I feel like no other band has been so inspirational to me. I mean, I've been inspired by a lot of music, but I love them. It's just, I feel like this project was kind of confusing to a lot of people. And yeah, so I'd like to know your thoughts below. I know that there are going to be a bunch of people that disagree with me. Some people think that this album is a masterpiece, and you have every right to think that. I don't think this album was a masterpiece. I think that it was, throughout 33 songs, you had maybe like 12, 13 good ones. And yeah, I'm just thankful. That's my silver lining, is like there is stuff on here that I actually like and enjoy. Do I enjoy? I mean, yeah. So there you go. Thank you for listening to me yammer, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.